Welcome to Prototype Audio Lab's YouTube channel with our first demonstrational video. Here I'll be showing you how I use my computer running off of Linux and some easy to obtain packages, as well as a currently only iPhone and iPad application to catch clean samples off of YouTube videos by separating the audio layers. As I'm sure most of you are familiar with, this is the classic 1969 Amen Brother by the Winstons. What I'm doing here is just pulling the video off of YouTube. You can use any YouTube video downloader. Since my setup runs off of Linux, I use a command line based YouTube downloader called YTDLP. You can use any one that works on your setup. After that, we're going to want to run the video through an audio converter. You get a WAV or MP3, whichever you want to use. Next, I'm going to be loading the audio file into a iPhone or iPad only application called Moises, I believe. It's like noises, but with an M. So to do that, I'm going to load the audio file into my Google Drive. You can use whichever file sharing application you prefer. Before these newer technologies, DJs would have to wait for a drum break to get a clean drum sample, which is where the rest of the instruments creating the melody would drop away, leaving just a drum solo. These audio layer splitters will actually pull the rest of the instruments or vocals or whatever you don't want off of the track. You can separate them all out, keep what you want, keep them all and adjust the layers of them. I'll give you a quick rundown of how I do it. In less than 10 minutes it'll be done, aside from a little upload processing and download time that I sped up. Now that's almost uploaded into Google Drive, I'll switch over to Drive on my phone and start downloading it to my phone so I can load it into the Moises app. On my iPhone, it took me a while to figure out how to save certain files to my phone, but I found I could send a copy and then copy the file from that menu, and then go into my folders on my phone and paste it in. And that's the only way I've found so far. It kind of makes it difficult. Instead of saving two files, I don't know why that option's not available. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments, please, because that took me a while to figure out. The application actually lets you choose whether you want to just separate out your vocals from instrumentals, if you want to add background vocals, and then it lets you break down the instrument track even further by giving you, like, obviously the bass and the drums, but then you can focus on whether or not there's a guitar, a keyboard, or strings in the instrument track. So choose whichever is appropriate for your track you're working on and let the application do its magic. The application sets your default audio levels for each of the split tracks to about 75%. I thought that was the default, giving you some room to increase the gain, but I guess it actually lowers all of the volumes. So after exporting a few times and wondering why is my volume not getting as loud as the original, I realized, oh, you have to move these up to 100%. If you don't want one of the layers at all, you can completely cut it out. You can choose to export it as individual split tracks, or you can mix the audio back together with one of the tracks lower or one of the tracks completely cut out or multiple tracks cut out. And before I download it back onto my computer from Google Drive, I'll just give it a quick listen on my phone just to make sure everything worked right and I don't need to re-render it off of Moises. So now we're back on the computer, downloading those files that I just uploaded onto Google Drive. If you've noticed that I've been leaning closer to get a better look at the keyboard in order to type, it's not because I'm blind, it's because I have a silver keyboard with silver lettering. I can't see it. I haven't used the home row finger placement in probably a decade, so the lighting in here with these red lights kind of makes it a little bit hard to see. First I'll pull up one of these separated tracks so you can see what it sounds like by itself. After this, I'll just load them real quick into Reaper and Audacity to show you what I use those for with these tracks. So here I've imported the tracks into Reaper. As you can tell, I don't have any audio here because I was having trouble getting the screen recording program's audio in to match the DAW's audio out. So basically you can change the volume of each of the individual tracks, or you can solo out one of the tracks. You can cut and mix the different instruments or whatever you like within Reaper. So even if you're not sampling and you're just doing a beat to sing over, you can get a little bit more control over how your beat and melody sounds by using this. When I want to do the sampling of individual beats or sound effects, I usually pull that up in Audacity. I just like the way Audacity looks when I zoom in real close. I feel like I can find and cut the samples easier within here. So after you have the correct instrument or vocal track loaded into Audacity, just find what you want to sample, then isolate it and render it into a separate file to use in your mix. Soon I'll be doing some videos in more of a tutorial fashion on exactly how to use these applications, but this video is more of just a demonstration of how I generally do it. You can use many apps on any system to do this, but this is just how I do it. For now, though, I will leave a download link in the description for each of the programs I used.